Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting version of Chip Talks podcast. Today, we welcome a very special guest, Ethan Pompeo. So, Ethan is here. He's going to help us better understand pandas. So, we're going to have a rousing discussion about pandas and some solutions with pandas, which is really cool.
Hello.
Ethan, welcome. Glad to have you. Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much, Chip. Yeah, man, we've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to this too, because this discussion is interesting because pandas is such an interesting disease. So do you want to kick it off and just tell us a little bit about what pandas is and your experience with it too? Like, how old were you when you got it, and kind of how did it affect you, neuro-wise?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So PANDAS is an acronym. It's not that cute, cuddly zoo animal that we're all familiar with, right? It's Pediatric Autoimmune Neurological Disorders Associated with Strep. And that's a mouthful, but essentially what it is it's generally pediatric onset, so as a child, but it can happen with an adult. But essentially a foreign pathogen, namely Strep bacteria, will cause an unusual antibody response. For me, my antibodies started being produced in excess, causing my immune system to go haywire. And your antibodies are one of the few compounds that can cross the blood-brain barrier. That's exactly what happens in PANDAS patients. Essentially, your strep antibodies or whatever it may be cross the blood-brain barrier and start to produce inflammation in the brain. The basal ganglia is where I experienced inflammation, which is the motor cortex of your body. So long story short, I started having Tourette's syndrome-like symptoms. I lost control of my motor function. I had compulsivity, obsessive compulsive disorder, severe motor tics, ADHD, all these neurological symptoms that wreaked havoc on my life. And one of the main symptoms or indicators of PANDAS is instant onset, immediate onset. I mean, literally, I went from a normal kid one day to having these tics and compulsions the next day, and very unusual. And at the time, I was 13 years old, and nobody knew what this was. I went many, many years before getting a proper diagnosis. I was misdiagnosed with Tourette's syndrome, which was essentially a label they slapped on me to get me in and out of the office. All right. So by the time I was 17 years old, I had been on over 40 different prescription meds, none of which really gave me the relief I was looking for, none of which helped. Many made me feel worse, and the side effects outweighed the benefits. So it was a long road to recovery for me. And fortunately, today we have much more advocacy and awareness of this and what it is. So it's much easier to get help. But one of my life missions and my life purpose, I believe, is to spread awareness for this, to help teach people the things that I've learned, the life skills and habits and treatment options that I've learned that can really help and get you back on the right path.
Did yours start with like a strep throat? Did you have strep throat before and it moved, crossed your blood-brain barrier?
Yeah, I had strep repeatedly as a kid, and to be honest, more often than not, I never knew I had it. I often did not have symptoms, yet I would test positive in the throat swab culture at the doctor's office. So I was on and off antibiotics many times as a child, up until I finally had my tonsils and adenoids removed as an early teenager.
Okay, interesting. And then, well, and real quick, just a little bit of the explanation about strep and kind of what strep can do. So in your immune system, and again, if you think about, so most important thing that we've got to do for ourselves is defend ourselves in our immune system. So you have three things you need to differentiate between: what's a nutrient, what's you, and what's a foreign invader, right? And so your immune system gets really good at determining kind of in blood and things like that, what's you, what's an invader, and what's a nutrient. Well, one of the ways that it does it is it puts a name tag on cells that are yours, and it's called CD55. So you get a little Ethan name tag, right, on all these cells that you're making. Strep pulls off that name tag. So in your basal ganglia, what happens is basically those cells are produced with name tags, and strep, part of its strategy is to pull off those name tags so that your immune system attacks your own self rather than the strep. And so that's appearing to be the deeper kind of look at the pathology of what's going on. But it also looks to be the same thing that's happening in type 1 diabetes, believe it or not. So that is looking to be a strep thing as well, and a similar thing where your immune system attacks tissue and causes a lot of dysfunction. So anyway, when did you find, so you were on all manner of medication, and then somehow you found CBD. So tell me about that, and then tell me about kind of what happened as you found cannabinoids.
Well, it was a bit serendipitous in a way. I got to a point where I was fed up, right? I got what we call physician fatigue, which was I'm sick and tired of going to all these doctor appointments, right? I mean, you can imagine a 17-year-old kid being drugged around for years from appointment to appointment. And my parents, tried everything to get me some relief. We tried, everything. Traditional doctors, specialists, acupuncture, anything to try to get me some relief from the anxiety and the stress and the tics I was experiencing. Nothing helped. Around early to mid high school, I was introduced to cannabis and marijuana. And I, as much as I regret to say it, it was the only thing that I found that gave me some relief. So I smoked every day, all day. It became like my not only my medicine but my lifestyle, and it began to consume me, not only because it gave me some relief but because of the addictive potential of cannabis. I was hooked and I was using it all the time. And little did I know, it was actually the CBD in cannabis that was giving me the relief, not the THC. So it wasn't that I was getting high and feeling better, it was that there were these anti-inflammatory compounds present in cannabis that I was not even aware of, that were actually entering my bloodstream and helping to reduce the inflammation in my brain and reduce my symptom load and help me feel better. Now, I didn't find out about CBD until after college. So I went just about 10 years without knowing why this was helping me. I just knew it was. So I continued to smoke and use that more illicit form of cannabis for many, many years. It wasn't until after I graduated college, I moved to a farm in Colorado, not a pot farm. We were growing everything but. We were growing vegetables and squash and asparagus and tomatoes and anything you see at the farmer's market we were growing. And then for me, it was really just a step back into a more holistic, relaxed lifestyle. And I fell in love with the farm lifestyle. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But being in Colorado, cannabis is everywhere. And I was introduced to a relative of the farmer I was working for who was growing a 300-acre farm. So I was intrigued, right? I'd gone deep into this cannabis lifestyle and I wanted to learn everything about it. So I was introduced to the farmer and I went to his farm, just saw this huge field of cannabis. And wow, like this is what I expected Colorado to look like, right? So learning more, I realized that this hemp was being grown for CBD production, not marijuana. It wasn't going to the dispensaries or the smoke shops. It was being grown for medicine. And I said, what is this CBD? What is this stuff? As I learned about it, it's one of over 30 active ingredients in the cannabis plant that has medicinal potential and value to us. And I call it nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory. Not only did it relieve inflammation in my brain, but it relieved some of the pain I was feeling from the inflammation in my hands and joints from all the tics I had, banging my hand against the table all the time, picking things up and down over and over again. The anxiety and frustration I felt was mitigated from the inflammatory relief I got from CBD, as well as from reducing my symptom load and helping me to feel better. So it was this holistic, almost cure that I found where I could just take the CBD orally. I could rub it on topically. I could take a soft gel or a gummy format if I chose. So there was no smoking. There was no negative health consequences of taking it. There was no risk of addictive potential or risk of trouble with the law or any of these other problems I faced through marijuana use, but I could get the relief through CBD without any of those problems or without getting the THC. I didn't have to be high. I didn't have to smoke. It was really an answered prayer. And so from there, I couldn't get enough of this stuff, right? I was trying every different option I could find, whether it would be a soft gel or an oil, a tincture, or a gummy or a hard candy. I was fascinated by this stuff. that was kind of my journey into this, and really my escape from that world of cannabis and cannabis culture into a more holistically focused routine. So I got away from smoking and started using CBD as a tool to not only relieve my symptoms, but to help me step back and take a deep breath and refocus and learn more about holistic lifestyle change and other things I could do to improve my health.
Yeah, no, that's great. Do you remember like kind of what your mind was doing and kind of how you felt before, you tried, let's say, CBDs or cannabis, and then kind of what THC did for that, and then kind of what CBD has done for that past? And then let me kind of ask you one more question. And then as you're taking CBD, can you feel like a threshold, like I've hit this threshold that now I'm going to be okay? Or if I fall below this threshold, I'm going to begin to have symptoms again. Are you symptom free now?
Sure. So I'm not symptom free. PANDAS is something that it's not a clinical diagnosis, for one thing. It's about putting the pieces together and figuring out, hey, this looks like PANDAS. There's no blood test, for example, that you can take that says, oh, yep, you're positive for PANDAS, right? It's about testing your body for strep titers to see if your strep antibodies are high, like mine were. It's about checking for infection, any foreign pathogens or strep bacteria present in your body. It's about analyzing your physical reaction for motor tics and analyzing your mental health for anxiety, and putting all these pieces together and seeing if it fits the mold and the description of PANDAS. So first of all, getting a diagnosis can be really difficult. Second of all, there's no cure. There's no known cure. There's many different treatments, and everybody's treatment protocol will be different based on what they're dealing with and how their body responds to it. So some people use IVIG. Some people use CBD and hemp and anti-inflammatory supplements and compounds. Other people have gone much further with other experimental treatments. But there's no one-size-fits-all solution for this, which makes it especially difficult to treat. I do believe that anti-inflammatory compounds, supplements can only benefit you. There's no real negative or side effect to taking these beneficial anti-inflammatory compounds for your health. So that's always a great place to start. But for me, I noticed a difference almost immediately after taking CBD. Within 20 to 30 minutes, I can feel kind of a wave of relaxation come over me. It's quite fast acting, especially if you take an oral form. I drop it under my tongue and I wait about 30 seconds before swallowing, and that CBD will enter your bloodstream sublingually. So right under your tongue, it's entering those blood vessels. It's getting to work fast. It can also cross the blood-brain barrier through that sublingual absorption. So it goes right into my brain and targets that area that needs relief. So for me, it's been a very reliable, dependable source of relief. And it's something I take every day. There is definitely a threshold dose associated with that, which it can be different for everybody. I was really suffering from my tics and my symptoms. I had to take a much higher dose than what's considered normal. Today, our partner physicians recommend a dose between 25 and 50 milligrams for adults. I had to take 100 milligrams or more to get some relief because my symptoms were so severe. I mean, I would punch holes in the walls. I would throw my phone and tap my phone until it broke. My wife tells people I would break a phone every 2 weeks. Verizon store loved me, it was very severe. And so I had a lot of frustration and anger issues associated with that. Not being able to control my body, being destructive. There's a lot of anger and negative emotions associated with that. And I was not in a good place. And so I took a much higher dose. But today, again, I've made a number of lifestyle changes that made a significant impact on my health. And we can talk about those, but it's really the things that we all know we should be doing: eating right, getting enough sleep, exercising, right? All these things are key, and they're areas of our health that we as Americans often neglect. So getting back on the right track and using CBD as a tool to kind of help me help usher me into this area where I can focus on these things and get outside of my bedroom and do these things made a huge difference.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And let's talk through real quick just what CBDs are doing, right? And this is kind of why they work, right? And why they're working for you. So first of all, again, the condition that you have, PANDAS, is associated with strep. So it is an infection, right? So it's an infection that you have, and that's why you're monitoring your strep titers, is to see if that infection is going up or down. And getting worse, which would impact you and kind of cause your PANDAS to get worse. But there's nothing
Right.
First of all, this is kind of important, if you will, because it's God, because there's really nothing in CBD that will kill strep. Okay. But there is a lot of stuff in CBD, or the molecule CBD, that really helps our immune system. So what is happening in your case is this CBD is really enhancing your immune system and giving you a lot more immune horsepower in order to fight back the strep. One thing that we might want to talk about offline or some other time is a way, there are things that will kill strep, garlic in particular. So you might look at garlic as just an additive to your, regimen. But certainly, CBDs will help so much. And so tell me so you got so passionate about CBDs, you started your own company. You started your own brand, you started your own line of CBD products. So tell me a little bit about that and how is that going?
Sure. And you're right. As an Italian, I eat a lot of garlic, right? That's good stuff, man.
That will kill. So garlic will kill strep. Yeah.
And you're right. With any treatment protocol for PANDAS, the first step is to eliminate that infection, because it doesn't matter what you do if you're not getting rid of the source of your inflammation and the source of that immune compromise, then you're never going to get better. So step one is always to eliminate that strep bacteria, whether it's long course antibiotics or taking those natural things that we have access to that can get rid of bacterial infections or whatever it is that you're facing.
Yeah.
So that's always step one. But once you get rid of the infection, you're right. It's all about now getting on that healing journey, right? So keeping the inflammation at bay, reducing inflammation, and starting to address the symptoms now that root cause of your illness has been taken care of. So for me, CBD was a huge piece to the puzzle, and it's something I still use every day. The problem was when I left that job on the farm in Colorado and I moved back to Virginia, where I'm from, where I've been born and raised, there CBD was still considered hash. I mean, this was back in 2014, and there was nowhere to get this stuff. I could go online and shop around, but who knows where the stuff was coming from. There was no quality control of the CBD you buy online, especially at that time. It could be coming from anywhere. There was no real regulation at all at that time. So I was at a loss. What do? I can't find this stuff anywhere. There's no way to get my medicine. And the only option was cannabis on the black market. So I wasn't going back to that road. I knew that. I've stepped back from that illicit use of cannabis and moved into a new era where I'm using this CBD very medicinally. Now, when I couldn't get it, I realized, I need to reach out to my friends in Colorado. So that's what I did. I said, hey, can you send me some of these CBD supplements? I really need it. And they did. I had gracious friends that would send me CBD, and I started to buy the raw materials. I would get bulk amounts of CBD isolate, which is the pure form of CBD. It's CBD that's been isolated from the hemp plants with nothing else in it. So it's pure 99% CBD. And I started to make my own products with it. I would infuse it into different carrier oils. I would encapsulate it with a little capsule machine I had. I would mix it in with my foods, smoothies, and recipes, any way to get it into my body in a way that was effective. And so I learned a lot just from experimenting on my own. And, I'd post it up on my Snapchat, and friends would reach out to me with interest. What is this? What are you doing? Pretty soon I found my family and friends reaching out to me to try this stuff. And I realized, man, there's demand for this product. people are looking for relief, and they want to do it without resorting to alcohol or drugs. So I saw an opportunity there, and I started making these products in volume out of the spare bedroom in my house, and it just grew organically from there. I mean, it's a real success story from, like Apple building the first computer in your garage. That was me with the CBD products. And today we operate a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility here in Charlottesville, and we're making all number of products, from oils to gummies to capsules to bath and spa products to treats for your dog. We also have a product that is certified and safe for kids. It's pediatrician recommended. We do use, to this day, we manufacture a CBD isolate that is 100% THC free. So again, none of those psychoactive effects, none of the negative risks or connotations with marijuana, but just pure CBD that can benefit your health and reduce your inflammation. So people are not just using it for PANDAS, right? They're using it for pain relief, anxiety relief, sleep support, skin health, separation anxiety for your dog. I mean, this stuff is so versatile and so powerful. It really, really works. So we're distributing all around the country now. I've sold CBD in all 50 states and internationally, and it's something that our customers have learned they can really trust and depend on. So it's been a huge blessing for me to be able to not only support my family with this business, but also spread my message and share hope and a product with people that won't give you cancer, but might help you feel better.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And have you found that there are other supplements other than CBD that have helped you?
Yeah, certainly. I still have a supplement routine that I take to this day. One of the other supplements is quercetin. So it's a flavonoid that's very, very powerful anti-inflammatory. I take vitamin D because if you know about the immune system, anytime you have a chronic infection like that, your vitamin D is being depleted. Your immune system, vitamin D is one of the largest fuels for your immune system. So if you're constantly fighting off infection, battling something like that, you're going to need to supplement with vitamin D. So I get a lot of sunshine, but here in Virginia, the winter months roll in, we have to supplement with vitamin D. So I take that. And those are really the three main supplements that I take. I take a few other ones that I've highlighted in one of my blog posts. So if you want to see like my full regimen, you can do that. But those are the three, CBD, quercetin, and vitamin D, that I think, quite honestly, most people battling inflammatory issues should probably be taking. And those are also, it's what my holistic doctor has recommended I take. So this is not just something I've come up with, but this is what my physicians and the science has backed and supported my use of. And then I do believe that food is our primary medicine. So if you can get these supplements through your food, that's the best way to take them. So for example, if you're anemic, if you need iron, getting it from red meat or plant-based sources of iron is going to be the best way. It will always be better than taking an encapsulated or pill form of iron. So just making sure you get a healthy diet that's well-rounded and full of the nutrients that your body needs is also key.
Have you messed around with intermittent fasting any?
Not as much. And the reason is because for most of my life in my childhood, I've been so underweight. If you had met me in college, I was 135 pounds. I was skin and bones. You can't tell from this, but I post a lot about my workout routines in my gym life. About 4 years ago, my wife said, "Hey, we need to get you in the gym. You feel better when you're exercising, so we need to make this part of your daily routine." And I said, "Oh, I'm too busy, but goodness, I'm so glad I listened because it's part of my daily life now. My wife and I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and weightlifting has become a huge part of my healing journey. I'm now 185 pounds, so I've gained 50 pounds of lean muscle mass, and this has been so critical to my healing. It's amazing. Not only do I look better and feel better, but my doctor explained muscle mass acts as a sink for eosinophils or inflammatory compounds that were causing my brain inflammation. So by gaining 50 pounds of muscle mass, not only are those eosinophils, is the effect of them and the other inflammatory compounds, not only is the effect of those reduced on my body because there's more Ethan, the muscle mass is actually absorbing those compounds and mitigating their effect on my brain. So it keeps it out of my bloodstream and out of my brainstem, if that makes sense. So that's huge. Yeah. And from the standpoint of someone with PANDAS, getting that excess energy out in the gym by lifting weights is so relieving. So I sleep better, I feel better, my diet is better, I'm hungry, my appetite is better. Overall, I highly recommend getting in the gym, pushing up some weights. It will make you feel better and strengthen you and improve your longevity.
Yeah, if I want to just generally, in human function, let's say boost the function of your immune system, then there are several ways that I can do that. So I can starve you, so to speak, just meaning that I can, like 5 hours past your last meal, your immune system goes into high gear. If I make you really cold, so if I put you out in cold weather and get your body cold, immune system goes into high gear. Then if I put you under pressure, your immune system goes into high gear. So those can be used, those tricks, let's say, can be used to boost immune function and do things. Now, interestingly, one of the things, and I'm just, so I'm a scientist, like I study stuff and I'm, always kind of listening to, other people's ways that they've found to solve problems and everything. But have you added, or if you looked at omega? So, and I'll tell you why. Let me walk you through why I think this is so important. So we build so we all have an endocannabinoid system, whether you use CBD or not, right? Your dog has an endocannabinoid system. Your cat has an endocannabinoid system. So all those things, when we're feeding our endocannabinoid system naturally, we feed it with omega-3 and omega-6 fats, okay? Those have to be taken, and those are arguably the most important foods we eat every single day, omega-3 and omega-6 fats. And we have to eat them in balance. If we don't eat them in balance, if we eat too many omega-6s, let's say, we begin to have a very hyperactive and hypersensitive immune response, okay? So we'll be hyperinflammatory, we'll be, hyper. If we eat too many omega-3s and not enough omega-6s, we won't have any immune system, but we'll be able to heal really quick, right? So one side is healing, one side is inflammatory kind of immune, and we kind of need to eat them in balance. Well, right now in our diet, we eat a ton more, like 40 times more omega-6 than we do omega-3, which for someone with PANDAS, and if they're not aware of this, would be fueling that immune response, would be fueling that inflammatory response. So have you ever looked at, omega-3s and kind of, balancing omega-3s and that type of stuff in your research?
Yeah, certainly. And it's interesting, you asked about intermittent fasting. My point being with the workout story was that it was difficult for me to intermittently fast because I was so focused on gaining the weight. Yeah. But one thing that I do is I try to avoid eating anything after dinner time, right? We have dinner at 6:30. After that, we're done for the day because I need that 12 hours between the time that I finish and the time that I wake up in the morning. Just let my immune system do its thing to rest. And so I have that 12 hours a day, but I don't have as much experience with intermittent fasting, to be honest with you. I do like to do cold plunges and take cold showers for that reason. So I'm a big fan of what you're saying. Those are the areas that I could improve on for sure. With the omega-3s and the omega-6s, I do try to have a balanced diet and focus on all those micros and macros. But interestingly, we just released our newest product, and it's not a CBD product. It's hemp-based. It's a hemp part protein powder. And not only is it great for someone who's working out, right, to boost your protein intake, and just for American diets in general, to boost your protein with a plant-based source, but hemp is, as far as I know, it's the only plant-based protein that's a complete protein. So it contains all of the amino acids we need for development and muscle growth, but it's also balanced in omega-6s and omega-3s. So exactly. In terms of plant-based protein or protein supplements in general, it is the cream of the crop. And so in terms of plant-based protein, it's as good as you can get. It beats whey protein in terms of cleanliness. It's very minimally processed, so you're not getting any of those industrial agricultural chemicals or heavy metals that you may see in some of the lab results that we're looking at whey protein. It's more bioavailable than pea protein by a factor of 50. So instead of just excreting this protein and wasting your money, it's actually building muscle. It's actually contributing to your health and your well-being. So this is something that's very important to me. And ironically, it goes right in with my journey of finding healing in the hemp plant, not only for the CBD, but just of how amazing this plant is in providing everything that our body needs. So yeah, it's very important. And if you are supplementing your diet, I would definitely take a very close look at what you're putting in your body. Don't just buy the cheapest supplement out there to get protein in your body. Look at what else is involved in this. Look at the lab test results. Look at the micros and see what's in your supplement. And so that's why, if I'm taking this protein powder every day in my smoothies, I'm feeding it to my kids. I want to know that it's balanced, and I want to know that it will actually be contributing to their diet.
Yeah, no, good for you, because the hemp is, as you said, so hemp is one of the plants that is it's a superfood, meaning that it is very well balanced omega-3, omega-6. It's in like the prime ratio. It's even got some GLA in it. I think it has all 9 essential aminos in it, meaning that it would have, all essential protein. And, for those of you guys out there going, what are they talking about? Protein is amino acids. So when you say your body needs protein, what we're really saying is your body needs amino acids, and there are 9 essential amino acids, which hemp, as Ethan just said, has, I think, all of them in it. But yeah, you're right. Hemp is, so if you're supplementing with hemp, that's almost the perfect thing to do for your immune system. It's almost a complete superfood. So, and if you've made a protein powder from it, that's great. So go check that out, folks, at Green Valley Nutrition. That's some good stuff. So cool. What else are you doing at Green Valley? That's some cool stuff, man.
Yeah, that's the one thing. CBD, there's still such a stigma around it. It's difficult. It's difficult to run ads. It's difficult to get your message out there because of the stigma and restrictions on our product category from Google and Facebook and all these big advertising companies. So one of the things I was trying to accomplish with this hemp protein powder is to bypass these restrictions and offer a product that's beneficial. It fits right in with our product offerings, so that we can advertise freely because there's no CBD or anything like that in it. So that's something we're trying to do. We just launched it last week, so it's brand new. We've done a bunch of product testing, like not only in-house here with myself and my wife and my kids, but we've had a lot of our friends at the gym try it with great results. They love it. They love the flavor. We haven't cut any corners with this product. It's pure hemp hearts. So we're not just grinding up the seeds of hemp, which does have its benefit, but it's also very high in fat. Mm-hmm. Hemp hearts is essentially pure protein. So yes, it is a complete protein. It's also almost absent from fats and other additives naturally. We simply remove the hulls from the hemp seeds, pulverize it, and put it in a bag. I mean, it's very minimally processed. It's organic. If you look at the manufacturing processes that go into all these other protein isolates and products that are on the market, it's really disturbing. So we wanted, again, just with our CBD, we wanted something minimally processed and natural from the plant that can benefit our bodies.
Yeah, there's a lot of protein powders will put sugar, in the protein to make it taste better, put corn syrup and things like that. There's something that's called the Maillard effect, like the duck. And if you put sugar in combination with amino acids, guess what happens? They react and they become less. They become far less. So as soon as you put sugar with amino acids, you degrade the amino acids. So good for you for keeping it pure.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, that's
the Maillard effect.
Yeah, Maillard effect is what it's called. Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't surprise me. I'm not familiar with that, but it really doesn't surprise me. I mean, I've just come to learn in our society, in this consumerist society, companies are catering to these ideas that people have about how their product should taste. I want it to be chocolate or strawberry, and I mean, you are compromising the integrity of your product by asking for these things. With our hemp protein powder, there's one single ingredient, and it's hemp heart protein, because that's what we want to sell. We're selling a protein powder. We're not selling a milkshake. or a chocolate drink, right? So this is something that you can add to your protein. We put it in our pancakes or oatmeal or a post-workout smoothie, and it's almost flavorless. I mean, it's benign. You can't even tell it's in there.
That's a little.
So to
sweet.
add a flavoring,
it actually has
to add sweetener, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's good. And that good for you guys for doing that. I think, and you mentioned something too, and I've definitely lived this dream, but it is, everybody thinks, oh, well, you have a CBD company. You must be a multi-millionaire. It's like, do you know how hard it is to sell CBD products? It's like, oh my God, it is so hard. So you almost have to, as you have a nice already, kind of demographic that you point to. And so you can kind of use that demographic. But you want to talk any about how your struggle in business and how hard it's been to actually, bubble up? Because it's been really hard for us too. We've had to fight like hell.
Goodness, well, I really appreciate that question, Chip, because you're right. Not many people have experience with this, and they don't know. You're right. I have conversations with people all the time where I tell them I'm in the cannabis industry, or I have a CBD company. And, oh, wow. Yeah, you must be doing really well for yourself. I'm like, okay. It's not like selling weed, right? You can't just open up a shop and have your doors flooded, right? This is something that's very, very niche. And most of the people out there who should probably be taking CBD are still skeptical and uneducated about it. There has been so much misinformation over the last 50 to 100 years about what this product is. And so just breaking through that barrier is hard in and of itself. You got about 5 to 7 seconds to get your message across to somebody in today's marketplace, and to educate them on what CBD it is, how they can benefit from it, break down all their hesitations and questions in 7 seconds is nearly impossible. So it's a very, very difficult space to navigate, and the market is saturated and flooded with products. Nobody knows who they can trust. They're already skeptical. So yes, it's been very, very difficult. When I first started in 2015, it was a different world. Nobody had heard of CBD before. They weren't inundated with CBD gummy ads on Facebook. You didn't see the banners in all these smoke shops. We have CBD. The marketplace was completely different.
Just curiously, were you using for distribution it was a company, it was in a suburb of Denver, Blue Spruce or something like that. He was a young guy that started it, but he was one of the first CBD distillate providers. He had his own line of stuff for a while, but it was, he was super early. Yeah, but I was just wondering if he was kind of your guy at that time. But
no, I'm not familiar with that company.
Okay. Yeah. No, they were early, and he, did a pretty good job, had a pretty good product early, and was selling some Disty, I think, for a while, in isolate for a while. So, yeah. But anyway,
so the company that I was working with was actually acquired by a Canadian company several years ago. And as far as I know, never had an actual product on the market. They were doing a lot of research and development. So they had an incredible facility where they were isolating every number of compounds you could imagine, discovering new cannabinoids and putting patents on the procedures and on the molecules they were developing. So I was sourcing for them. They were looking for an outlet for a lot of these raw materials they were producing because they weren't distributing products. They were building intellectual property. So probably nobody has heard of this company, but I was very, very impressed with what they were doing and how they were doing it. They ended up being acquired for a large amount of money, one of those large Canadian conglomerates several years ago. So they're no longer around either. And that's one of the things I've seen in the CBD space in general. A lot of acquisition, a lot of bankruptcy. I mean, almost every week I have a customer reach out to me, hey, our CBD company is no longer in business and we're looking for somebody new that we can trust. These places are a dime a dozen, it seems, and they're coming and going. And so for us to be in business for almost 10 years now, providing product that is the same as it was 10 years ago when we first started is a rarity. Mm-hmm. It's something I'm very proud of. And we have continued to grow and double our numbers and double our revenue year after year since we started. Oh. And that first year, I didn't make anything that first year. It was a hobby for me. It was for fun, and it's just quickly become something that's grown and grown rapidly. And I poured my soul into this, right? Not only through telling my story and putting my lifeblood into this product line, but I mean, telling my story was a hurdle to get over in and of itself. For years and years, I was ashamed and embarrassed of what I was experiencing, what I was going through. I didn't want to talk about my health problems. It's very private to me, and I bottled all this emotion up. I wanted to pretend like everything was okay and everything was fine and everything was normal when it wasn't. And in college and high school, my classmates would look and see me, making these scoffing sounds and picking up my pencil over and over again and hitting myself in the head and being extremely bothered by all these sounds in the room, plugging my ears. I mean, I was clearly disturbed. And when people would turn around and ask me, "Hey, are you okay?" It would just make my blood boil. I wanted to just scream, "Yes, I'm okay. Leave me alone." And man, what a change it was when I admitted to myself that I wasn't okay and that it was okay to not be okay. And that if, my expectation, my health was to resemble a perfect report card, that was holding myself up to a standard that I was not ready to live up to. And to be able to step back again and say to myself, be okay in your own skin, admit that you have a problem and share that with others was an incredible source of relief for me. I remember the first time I decided to myself, hey, next time someone asks me, "Are you okay?" I'm just going to tell them about what I'm dealing with. And I did. I said, I have these motor tics. Sorry if I'm bothering you, but I just have to do this to get it out. And to my surprise, they were completely okay with it. It's like conversation ended. They turned around on their desk and all was fine. And from that day on, they never asked me about it again because they understood that, hey, I was dealing with this thing. I wasn't laughing at them. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't having a seizure,
No, your story is so important, I think, and you have the ability to touch and help so many people. So I'm sure that people all the time well, thank you, for having the courage to share your story, with us and to share it with other people, because it just, God works in interesting ways, right? And so would God ever give somebody a disease so that they could help other people? Probably not. But it certainly, you have the, opportunity through your experience, though, and through God, let's say, to just touch so many people. And then the fact that you're, extending that into actual tools is just wonderful. So that's awesome, Ethan. I'm proud of you as a dad, let's say. So good for you.
Thanks,
man.
Chip.
Yeah.
No, it means a lot, man. It really does. And to have parents reach out to me and say, "Hey, I read your story," or "I saw you on a podcast and my child is struggling with this and we're about to give up, but then I heard your story and it gave me hope for my child." That is what it's all about. And that's why I say, when this is my life's purpose, that's what it's all about. CBD has been a miracle for me. And if I can provide a product that helps people, that's outstanding. But I think my real life's purpose is just to give hope and show other people that, yes, you can get better and you can find ways to improve your life, even in the face of illness. I think I like to consider myself 90% healed at this point. I mean, it's night and day when you look at my life 10 years ago, where I was completely out of control, suffering greatly, to now where I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have this company. Life is just so good, and I'm so grateful for that. It's just amazing to see how far I've come. And so, yes, I do still struggle with tics and anxiety, as many of us do, but I found ways to live well in despite of that, and to cope with my symptoms, and to not rely on drugs. I take no pharmaceuticals, I take no pills, and my life is so much better for it. And I would encourage you, if you're struggling with PANDAS or any kind of disability like this, don't bottle it up. Don't walk that journey alone, because it can be very, very isolating. And that it just increases your anxiety and makes you depressed. And so being open and learning to share your story with others and to be open about what you're dealing with is so key. It was a key to my healing, and that's what I encourage others to do. And it's funny, you bring God into this. My wife and I, we agree. I don't think God would make anybody sick intentionally, right? Just to test them. But it's something that we deal with on this earth. Every day you wake up and everything around you is trying to kill you, And so that's what your immune system is. God gave us these immune systems as an incredible feature and function to keep us healthy and keep us alive while letting nature do its thing and function in one holistic world.
It's so funny that you say that. I speak, I'm a professional speaker, so I speak to people all the time. But one of the things that I sort of ask people, what are the most important foods that you eat? And, go down the omega-6, omega-3 trail on the endocannabinoid system. And I also ask them, what's the most important thing that you do for yourself all the time? And it's absolutely defend yourself. If you look at, you just said something really interesting, and we'll kind of, I'll let you respond, and we'll leave it here because we don't want to make it too long. But because you and I will go down a rabbit hole with this. But you said wake up every day and the world's trying to kill you. That's absolutely right. And if you are kind of paying attention, it's almost narrative in society doing that. Like, for instance, eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner greatly weakens your immune system, makes you a target for pathogens. And that's why we talk about intermittent fasting so much. It's not anything to do with weight, you can lose weight doing it, but it's more about your immune system and understanding kind of how you work your immune system. Even, down to laundry detergents that are, estrogen mimickers and, soap that we put on ourselves that are changing the pH of our skin. And, it's just like almost society is, there's let's say a lot of things in institutional society that hurt our immune system, which is interesting, right? So when I think we're getting ready to enter a time where we fix all that, I would hope. But anyway, I'll let you respond.
It appears there's a great awakening going on. You see it on social media. People are definitely being woken up, and their eyes are opening to this idea. That we've gone down this route of convenience and having a tool for every need in your life, but that some of the tools we've developed may not be the healthiest option.
Yeah. No, that's a kind way to say it. You sound like RFK Jr. No, that's good. Perfect. All right, man.
Well, it is encouraging for me to see, it really is. I hope that I can contribute to that in some meaningful way. I think when God gave me this challenge to get over with PANDAS, it was for a reason. That can be to help encourage others and provide a tool that helps them, then I'm going to go full steam into that, accomplishing that goal. So hopefully this conversation helps the listener, even if one person hears this and gets encouraged and inspired by it, then we accomplished our goal here today.
Absolutely. That is a good place to leave it if you feel so. So if you have anything else, feel free, but it's been a pleasure to have you on, and really, you're a smart guy, so I'm going to have you on again. We're going to talk about some other stuff down the road. So this has been fun.
Right on. I learned a lot from you too, Chip. Really, this has been great. So thank you so much.
All right, man. We'll leave it there, and we'll have you back. So thank you guys, and thank you, Ethan, and we'll see you guys later.